ready for a super cute addition to your family? Well, Pups and Pals Rescue is here to introduce us to some of their cuddly and well-trained adoptable dogs. On the next Canine Corner, are you ready for a super cute addition to your family? Well, Pups and Pals Rescue is here to introduce us to some of their cuddly and well-trained adoptable dogs. Plus, we head over to Animal Control and follow along in a simulated earthquake drill to see just how the Animal Disaster Team takes care of our pets in a desperate situation. All this and more coming up on Canine Corner. Everyone, and welcome to Canine Corner, the show that guarantees to keep your dog's tail wagging. I am your host, Meagan Medick, and today I am at Animal Control, where the Torrance Animal Disaster Team is preparing to do a sheltering drill. Now, there are going to be 3 stations in this drill, and we're going to cover all 3 of them. But before we go inside and check out all the action, Pups and Pals Rescue is here, and we're going to meet some of the amazing dogs that they have for adoption. So let's take a look.
We are a rescue based out of Los Alamitos, and we rescue dogs from shelters and also owner surrenders, and we also take in dogs who have medical needs and have been surrendered to veterinary offices because the owners can't afford to take care of them. We take in basically smaller dogs, although we do have some larger breeds. We like to take in shepherds, do some labs. We've done some boxers in the past, but most of our dogs we have are smaller breed. Cyrus is a 14-month-old male Dachshund Chihuahua mix. He loves to play, unsqueak toys, and give ear kisses. He would be good in a home with older children and other dogs. He loves to snuggle and is really a true lap dog. Cyrus loves to cuddle under the blankets and would love a home where he can share the bed and snuggle under the covers at night. Kino is a 1.5-year-old male Rat Terrier Chihuahua mix. He came to us as a puppy from a hoarding situation and was not well socialized. He tries to overcome his fear by barking and growling, but he really wants to be loved. Kino would do best in a home without young children. He's very loving, playful, and sweet, but will need a home that can be patient with him in the beginning. Kino knows how to sit, shake, and down, and he loves to play with other small dogs. Vinny is a 5.5-year-old purebred Affenpinscher. He was surrendered to us by a breeder. Vinny wasn't treated like a house pet and is a bit shy. He loves to give kisses, and when he's happy, his whole body wiggles. Vinny would do best in a quiet household. He's crate trained and appears to be housebroken. Vinny likes other small dogs. He prefers women over men and would be okay in a home with children in their late teens. Chubby is a purebred 8-year-old Yorkie. He has a cataract in one eye, but he sees fine from his other one. Chubby's great with other dogs, both big and small, and is very outgoing with all people. He appears to be house trained, and his foster mom says that he's the easiest foster dog she's ever had. He has a little hiding spot in her house where he likes to take his toys and hide them from other dogs. He loves ice cubes, going on walks, and having his belly rubbed. Pepper's a female 4-year-old Cherry Poo. She was surrendered to us by someone who found her as a stray and could no longer afford to keep her. She's a cuddle bug. If you sit down, she just wants to be in your lap, and if you walk around, she wants to be wherever you are. She loves giving kisses, going on walks, and playing in the grass. She's just now learning about toys, and her favorite toys are the ball and her squeaker toys. Pepper gets along with other dogs and is the ultimate house dog and appears to be house trained. Annika is a 5 to 6-year-old Shih Tzu Maltese mix. She was surrendered to the pound, so we don't know a lot about her history. She's outgoing and loves to play, especially with her other foster family's dogs. Annika loves to cuddle and loves belly rubs. She recently had a dental cleaning and would be good in a home without small children.
If you're interested in adopting any one of these dogs, give us a call here at Canine Corner. Call 310-618-5762 or email us at caninecorner@torranceca.gov, and we'll be sure to get you in touch with the right people right away. A huge thank you to Pups and Pals Rescue for coming out and introducing us to those amazing dogs, and I truly hope that they all find the loving home that they deserve very soon. Now, I'm back at the Animal Disaster Team sheltering drill, and the first drill that we're about to cover is intake and reclaim. So let's get inside and see what it's all about. When a disaster strikes, you truly never know how you will react. However, having a plan of action and being prepared for a chaotic situation is the best way to make sure you and your pet will be safe. And keeping your pet safe is what the Torrance Animal Disaster Team is ready and willing to do. So today, the group is simulating a sheltering drill so they can be as best prepared as possible to help your animals stay protected in case of an emergency.
We do these drills periodically for a couple of reasons. One is to give people the experience of working in a shelter because there's only so much you can do in a classroom. You really need to be out in the field to practice your skills in a somewhat real-life situation. And the other reason we do the drills is to prove out our processes and procedures so that we identify during the drills if there are things in our processes or procedures that just don't work that we need to change so that we're really ready in time of a disaster.
Although today's drill at the animal control facility is mimicking an earthquake, there are a lot of other disasters that we should prepare our canines for.
In our city, some of the scenarios that could happen, everybody always first thinks of earthquake, but there are many others. We have a very large refinery here in the city of Torrance that if there were to be a disaster at that were to impact family homes and they would have to evacuate their homes for any reason, that might necessitate a temporary animal shelter. We could also end up where, we're not that far from the coast. If we were to have a tsunami or if we were to have severe rains and flooding in this area, those are all very typical types of accidents that could occur that could result in a disaster.
Preparing for these types of events is exactly why the Animal Disaster Team exists.
The City of Torrance Animal Disaster Team has two primary missions. One is to educate the public on pet disaster preparedness, and the other is to be prepared to set up a temporary animal shelter in the event of a disaster. So what we're simulating today is a major earthquake that caused the city to activate their Emergency Operations Center. At the Emergency Operations Center determined that there was a need for a temporary animal shelter to house the animals of displaced families, and they've told us to set that shelter up at the animal control facilities, which is why we're here.
No matter the type of disaster that takes place, ADT has a specific system which they will use to provide your pet shelter. The first step in this procedure is the intake station. This is where the animals are checked in, the paperwork is filled out, and where the most chaos can occur. No matter what the situation is, Animal Disaster Team members must get as much tedious information as possible from people dropping off animals.
The purpose for intake is when an animal is being brought in by their owner or as a stray, we're going to document how the animal got to our shelter and why it's here at this particular shelter. If it's brought in by the owner, we're going to take the owner's information, all their contact information, and maybe possibly find out where they're staying, if they're staying at a temporary location, at a Red Cross shelter, or even a hotel. And then we're going to give the owner a receipt for their animal, so when they come back to claim it, it's a really fast process and doesn't take a long time.
Taking down as much information as they can is one way for not only the Animal Disaster Team to keep organized, but it helps pet owners keep track of their beloved dogs as well. One large issue that can be common in a disaster situation is people bringing in strays that they have found, which can make detailing the pet's information a little more challenging.
If the animal's a stray, depending on who brought it in, we're going to get as much information on where that animal was found. So if the prospective owner comes to find their animal, if they give us an address where they live, or maybe where they last seen the animal, or maybe a neighbor brought it in, it really kind of brings the process down of getting that animal back to the correct owner a lot faster.
For the sake of this drill and safety, the ADT is using stuffed animals with the exception of Gracie, so they can act out some very obscure situations that could occur at the intake table. This is where Cindy Sanchez comes in to shake things up for the intake crew.
We're going to be deploying some of our animals here. Like right now we have a diabetic dog that's brought in by the owner with all the meds and lots of instructions, and we'll reclaim later. She's got her house damaged and she needs to evacuate, and we're bringing the dog now to her. To the shelter. So Torrance Animal. I have an intact pit bull, which is spay and neutering is really important. Later on we'll have a dog that is in heat that is also brought into the kennel. So you can see the problematic situations, the stress situations for disasters, and how it's important to spay and neuter.
Even though Cindy is throwing some curveballs at animal check-in, the ADT follows strict procedure to ensure all pets are not only safe, but accounted for. The team also has a microchip scanner on board to aid them in identifying pets who were brought in by a Good Samaritan or pets that came in with very little information, which is another important reason to make sure your pet is microchipped by your vet. Once a dog is fully checked in and paperwork has been completely filled out, the pet will be taken back to the veterinary station to get their picture taken and a quick checkup to make sure there are no injuries that need to be tended to before the dogs enter kenneling. The intake area is also responsible for the reclaim part of the drill, which is when people come back to claim their pets. This is where the receipt the owners were issued at intake becomes so important.
There's a big interview process that happens when they come to reclaim their animal. So intake is basically the documentation that will follow that animal right into our shelter, and it'll also follow them out of our shelter so that all the animals that have owners will go home to their owners.
So as you can see, the intake part of the drill can be a little hectic, so it's very important to remember during a real disaster to stay as calm as you possibly can and give as much information about your pet and contact information for you as you can, so when you come back to reclaim your animal, the process of reconnecting is as smooth as possible. Now, we have to take a quick break, but as soon as we come back, we're going to go around to the kenneling part of the drill so you can see how the animals are handled once they are checked in. We'll be right back.
Here's Marley Matlin. Since 1977, Dogs for the Deaf has been rescuing dogs from animal shelters and professionally training them to assist people who are hard of hearing. These highly trained dogs become the ears of a deaf person by alerting them to specific sounds. Imagine not being able to hear your baby crying, or a smoke alarm going off, or someone calling your name. Hearing assistance dogs are trained to identify all sorts of sounds and to lead the deaf person to the source of that sound. What's more, by observing the dog's behavior, that person has a better idea of what's happening around them. It's really amazing how it works. Dogs for the Deaf places dogs free of charge anywhere in the United States or Canada. If a dog doesn't complete its training to become a hearing assistance dog, it never goes back to the shelter. The people at Dogs for the Deaf find it a forever home through adoption. If you or anyone you know might benefit from having a hearing dog, visit the website of Dogs for the Deaf. And if you can, please donate. Your dollars will help people and dogs for many years to come.
I believe in an idea.
I believe in community.
I believe in entrepreneurship.
Small businesses, I believe.
Help weave people and communities together.
I believe in the American dream.
What's even better than dreams is making a dream come true.
SCORE is a nonprofit organization where we provide free business consulting services to people who want to start a business or already in business.
I believe one person can make a difference.
I am that person.
I am that person.
I am a SCORE mentor.
I am a SCORE volunteer.
What do you believe in?
Do you have a gift to share?
Small business owners need you.
To show them, to give them ideas, to encourage them.
I do what I do because watching other people succeed gives me great joy.
Our client success is our success.
It's like watching your children or grandchildren succeed.
Share your success.
Volunteer your expertise. You've got it. Share it.
Volunteer now at SCORE.org.
Volunteer your expertise
at SCORE.org.
Hey guys, and welcome back to Canine Corner. I am out here at Animal Control where the Torrance Animal Disaster Team is simulating an earthquake drill. Earlier we saw intake when you check your pet in during a disaster, but what happens to your pet after they are checked in? Well, they are taken back here to kenneling, and we're about to find out how your dog is boarded during a disaster. Let's take a look. To continue with this simulated earthquake drill, the Animal Disaster Team has set up a kenneling station which acts as a temporary animal shelter. This is where our pets come after they have gone through intake and are cleared by the vet. Kenneling is where animals are housed during the disaster. Once the pet has arrived, a new set of procedures needs to be followed before he or she can be placed into kenneling.
The animal comes in to us, we set up what's called a kennel card. On that card, we basically indicate whether the cat or a dog, whatever the animal is, whether it's been fed, needs to be fed, has it gone for a walk, has it been able to relieve itself, what's gone on with that animal. Also, if there's any medications that the animal takes. That way, we're able to keep track throughout the course of the day and the entire disaster situation as to what services has the dog or cat had, what do they need, things like that. So it comes in, we get the kennel card posted up on the kennel and make sure the animal is comfortable in the crate and has food, water, or whatever their needs are.
Different species of animals are put in different areas of the temporary shelter to ensure that all pets are as comfortable as possible. Since we cannot predict how long animals will need to be kenneled during a specific disaster, the team members are prepared to stay open as long as the city needs them to.
It's one of those where the shelter is set up to be able to house the animals for the duration that the shelter is set up. And that's really dictated by City of Torrance as far as how long the shelter is in need. So if the shelter is needed for a few days, then a few days. If the shelter is needed for a week, then a week. As the animals start, exceeding the capacity of the shelter, then we reach out to other organizations to help, such as possibly the City of Carson.
Now, I'm back here at the kenneling station during the drill, and I'm with our girl Gracie, who is a great sport today, and she is pretending to be kenneled during a disaster. Now, something really important to remember during a disaster is that Animal Control and the Torrance Animal Disaster Team is willing and wanting to take your pet, but the problem is overcrowding. So if you can, please have your own kennel prepared and ready to go during a disaster, and bring it with you if you need to bring your animal to Animal Control. The last part of the ADT drill was a search and rescue exercise. During a real disaster, the ADT would not be doing a search and rescue. That job is for the animal control officers. However, today they were able to follow along with an officer to learn about their search and rescue procedures.
Animal control would do our normal procedure. We would go out to each call that we receive, definitely assess the ones that are more important. If there's an injured animal versus just a stray animal, we would go to the injured animal first, contain that animal, bring it back here, or if it needed to go to the vet, take it to the vet immediately for treatment.
In the event of a disaster, such as the one being acted out today, Animal Control prioritizes which animals need to be brought into the station immediately, depending on the current physical state of the animal and safety.
We would just go out and look for anything that's stray, injured, deceased. We want to make sure there's no road hazards so that we don't have any crashes on the street. We definitely want to make sure that any animals are out of the street. But our most main concern is anything that is injured. We need to get that taken care of right away.
Once an animal is safely brought into the station from a search and rescue procedure, that animal would begin the intake process and be brought into kenneling, where the Animal Disaster Team will safely look after them. A huge thank you to the Torrance Animal Disaster Team for showing us how we can safely take care of our pets during a disaster. Now, we have to take a quick break. When we come back, we have a great tip of the month that you don't want to miss. Don't go anywhere.
Minds can achieve anything. We make sure they get to college. Federal student aid provides more than $150 billion in grants, loans, and work-study funds to make college possible for anyone with the mind to get there. Because if given the chance, minds will do great things. Federal Student Aid, proud sponsor of the American Mind. Learn more about money for college at studentaid.gov.
Hey guys, and welcome back to Canine Corner. Now, if you missed our dog adoption segment at the beginning of the show, we've got your recap coming right up, and make sure you have a pen and paper handy because we have a tip of the month that you won't want to miss. First, we have Sweet Boy Cyrus. He is a 14-month-old Chihuahua mix. He is very unique because he has one blue eye and one brown. He loves toys, cuddling under the blankets, and giving kisses. He would make the perfect companion for anyone looking for unconditional love. Next we have Kino, who is a 1.5-year-old Terrier Chihuahua mix. Kino is a survivor of a hoarding situation and is looking for someone who can really love him. He is well trained and loves to play with toys and other small dogs. Vinny is our next dog up for adoption. He is a 5.5-year-old Affenpinscher who was surrendered to Pups and Pals by a breeder. Vinny is a bit shy and would love to call a quieter household his home. He is housebroken and his whole body moves when he is happy. Vinny is the perfect choice if you are looking for unconditional love and companionship. Chobby is also ready for his forever home. He is a purebred 8-year-old Yorkie. On top of his good looks, he is already housebroken. Chobby can only see out of one eye, but that doesn't stop him from taking all of his toys and hiding them in a secret spot. He is great with other dogs, big and small. And don't forget Miss Pepper. She is a 4-year-old Terry Poo who was found as a stray. She is the ultimate cuddle bug and just can't resist sitting on your lap. She is just discovering her love of toys and playing fetch. Pepper gets along with other dogs and loves playing all day long. And lastly, we have Annika. Annika is a 5 to 6-year-old Shih Tzu Maltese mix. Pups and Pals took her out of the pound, and since then she has become very outgoing and loves to play, cuddle, and get belly rubs. Annika is ready to find the perfect match to call her family. To adopt one of these cute, cuddly dogs or to get more information on them, be sure to call Pups and Pals at 562-713-5103 or visit their website at www.pupsandpals.net. Be sure to mark your calendar for this tip of the month. The Torrance Animal Control Program is hosting 2 vaccination clinics for dogs this month. The clinics are on Wednesday, June 5th and Wednesday, June 19th from 7 to 8:30 p.m. at the Animal Control Facility located at 2200 Jefferson Street in Wilson Park. Prices for the vaccines are as follows. Rabies for a dog or cat, $7. Dogs 6-in-1 DHLPP, $15. And a dog Bordetella, $12. For more information, call Animal Control at 310-618-3850. If you have a question, contact us and we'll be sure to get you the right answer. Call us at 310-618-5762 or email us at caninecorner@torranceca.gov. Now, that's all the time we have on our show today. Thank you so much for joining us here on Canine Corner, the show that guarantees to keep your dog's tail wagging. I am your host, Meagan Medick, and we'll see you next time.